This morning, escalated tensions between the U.S. and Russia after President Trump said he's not happy with President Putin. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, holding what he called a frank face-to-face earlier in Malaysia. The war in Ukraine looming large, with Russia unleashing a new drone and missile strike on Ukraine's capital, all as newly obtained audio tied to the book 2024, How Trump Retook the White House and the Democrats Lost America, shows President Trump claiming he previously made this threat to Putin and China's leader.
With Putin, I said, if you go in to Ukraine, we're going to bomb the out of Moscow. I'm telling you, I have no choice. He goes like, I don't believe you. He said, no way. And I said, way. But I said the same thing to them. I said, you know, if you go into Taiwan, I'm going to bomb the out of Beijing.
Way. Okay, joining us now, NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State Joel Rubin and author of the briefing book Substack. Welcome to you both. So, Monica, we have Secretary Rubio meeting with his Russian counterpart amid the new strikes on Ukraine, the heightened tensions between Trump and Putin. Is there a recalibrated strategy from this administration on Ukraine? And I'm curious the state of Trump and Putin's relationship at this point.
Yeah, some of these comments this week from President Trump have been pretty eye-popping when it comes to, and contrasted with some of the comments he's made about President Putin in the past, where for many years, flattery had been one of the strategies that the president had used and had really praised his leadership and thinking that maybe that is how things could get done or there could be more leverage diplomatically by using that kind of talk. Now he has definitely changed his tune on that because he hasn't been able to get the outcome he wants when it comes to the war in Ukraine. Here's a little bit of what the president said and how Secretary of State Rubio echoed that during these travels you're seeing there.
We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
I echoed what the president has said, both disappointment and frustration at the lack of progress in peace talks or in a path forward. So we'll continue to engage.
Remember, when the president took office this term, he indicated that he could trust President Putin. He thought he could potentially end the conflict in Ukraine and stop that war in a very short amount of time. Obviously, that has not been the case. So now the president is even saying, Alex, that he would consider going for a sanctions package against Russia that is currently in the Senate that would be a pretty significant move. So perhaps now he is trying some political and public pressure out loud with these comments, saying otherwise this is the route I may go. But in any case, it doesn't seem that President Putin has really heeded any of those warnings so far, again, to get to a place that the U.S. wants to see, which is less deadly fighting in between this war of Russia and Ukraine.
All right, Monica Alba, thank you so much for that. So, Joel, now to you. I'm curious what you make of the turn in Trump and Putin's relationship. Also, what took the president so long to figure out that which so many other people have figured out in terms of Putin's intent and the way he behaves. But there is a growing frustration now from the president. Could it have an impact on Russia backing off on Ukraine?
Yeah, Alex, my first thought is welcome to reality, Donald Trump. It's nice that you've finally joined us in the assessment that Vladimir Putin is not a friend of the United States. And so will this have an impact or not? I don't know. Quite frankly, I think actions speak louder than words. And, you know, President Trump, he likes to talk a good game about peace through strength. But this Russia policy that he's been enacting is nothing but weak. He needs to turn. He needs to support the sanctions that 85 senators now co-sponsored. That is a package that will reassert American pressure on Russia. He hasn't done that yet. He hasn't called for it. He needs to get control of his Pentagon, who apparently, unwitting to him, withheld weapons, and he was embarrassed in public when he was asked about it, sitting right next to the Secretary of Defense, who had signed off on withholding those weapons. But he needs to get back into reality full, as opposed to a couple of words here or there, and really understand that Vladimir Putin has been playing him like a fiddle.
In fact, to your point, this morning, Secretary Rubio spoke about the possibility of putting sanctions on Russia. Let's listen to what he said.
The leaders of both chambers have said that they're prepared to begin to move forward on that. We've expressed this to the Russians weeks ago. We told them that the moment would come where something like this could happen, and we'll continue to express it because that's the reality.
So, look, you mentioned 85 senators being on board with the prospect of this, but would sanctions ultimately make any difference in Russia, considering all the sanctions they have been shouldering for years now?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And on a technical level, the reality is that because we have not executed new sanctions this whole calendar year, the existing sanctions on Russia have weakened. And now Russia is today in a better financial position than they were when Donald Trump came into office on January 20th. And you combine that with the weak support for military aid to Ukraine that we've seen over the last half year. And Russia is in a stronger position today than when Trump came in. And that's very important. So the sanctions package would, of course, reassert some pressure on Russia, but it would not answer the call. But it would certainly send a signal to our NATO allies and the Ukrainians and the Russians that this president is finally catching up to where the whole national security community is, quite frankly, and where our allies are, which is that Putin is not going to stop his war unless the United States puts pressure on him.
You know, Jill, you heard us play that really extraordinary audio of Trump claiming that he warned Russia and China he would bomb the bleep out of Moscow and Beijing if they attacked either Ukraine or Taiwan. If President Trump was still in office, that was the point. But during the start of the Ukraine war, would that have had any impact on preventing Putin's attack?
Well, first of all, let's remember what he was saying at the start of that war, which is that he basically called Vladimir Putin a genius for invading Ukraine. He was nowhere near what he claims he said in that fundraiser. I don't really know if that's even true. And so, you know, Donald Trump has had a consistent bending the knee to Vladimir Putin for years when it comes to policy. And so the idea that we would bomb willy-nilly, I mean, that's a ridiculous policy. There needs to be a strategy behind it. Joe Biden had a strong policy. Donald Trump opposed that policy. And I think that we really don't know what the policy is right now. It's all over the place. And if you're the Ukrainians, you have to be scared because you don't know if you're going to wake up one day and either be Donald Trump's best friend or his adversary. And they need more certainty than what they're getting from this White House.
Or if they're going to get the kind of supplies they've come to rely on
That's right.
From this White House. You know, one day makes a difference. All right, Jill Rubin, good to see you. Thank you so much.